It's the moment the young kids are coming through football.
It is, but a ground type thing, and it's ironic, isn't it, when you think about it this way?
The winner will undoubtedly become number one in the world, I'd say, above Anthony Joshua, who would have to then contest them to get his title back. So, huge fight tomorrow. But the other big heavyweight championship of the world that's been going on the last 2 weeks is two men also head to head. Can you guess what it is? Can you imagine being face to face for 50 hours and drawing after 50 hours? Now, what am I talking about? The champion, undefeated, still number one in the world until at least 2020 now. The Norwegian Magnus Carlsen has won the World Championship heavyweight bout. And can you believe 60% of Norway was watching live on TV when he won this? That is 50 hours of play, 12 drawn games, a metre away from your opponent. The American challenger, Carlsen, 50 hours face-to-face and a big draw. Nobody won. They had to go to a sudden face-off, and he won in a try. 3-0, rapid-fire round. So chess can be exciting, too. If you've not tried it, you can look online. It's huge on telly. And you can learn how to play. I've never got around to it. I must admit, I'm not too bad at drafts. That's the layman's chess. Our guest has just arrived here. I'm going to introduce you without further ado. Good evening.
Hi.
Welcome to the studio.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Now, that Salford, it's a strange Salford accent. I can hear that.
I'm not from Salford. I'm originally from New York. I'm originally from New York and I grew up in LA. So.
Wow, how long have you been here?
About a year. Nearly a year.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And do you feel at home? Do you feel part of the fabric now?
Yeah. It's a very, I'd say, chilled out city.
I just moved back here after 20 years as well.
Oh, where have you been?
I've been down south. I've been to
London.
So
that must be really, really slow for you.
It's, well, let's say it's exciting in a different way.
Yeah.
You've come from New York, that's even more dynamic.
Yeah, but I used to live in Long Island, so Long Island is more of a really small island and it's very mellow. Yeah, very laid back.
Not that crazy, fast paced.
No, not city.
And what's it like? You can see the horizon here, the skyline, huh? That's quite a big deal.
You can see it all,
yeah. You can see some light into the distance.
The views are different. I'd say the lifestyle is different as well, but I think anything different is exciting.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
It's challenging as well.
You're alive, right? That's the spirit. You got change. You need change.
Yeah.
How did you pick Salford from Long Island?
Well, I applied for university in here as an exchange student, and I just had an option to come here, Birmingham and London, but I liked Manchester more, so...
You'd heard of it?
Yeah. My sister, did her degree in Manchester as well. She's a doctor, so... I kind of know it so well.
Someone does a recce for you.
Yeah.
You're an ambassador. I must admit, I was biased, but Manchester's a great town. There's a great spirit.
Yeah.
As we well know in Salford. Mm-hmm. So, well, congratulations. Welcome. Being an honorary Mancunian. Good to have you.
No, very much so. And interestingly enough, Kimberley, we on this show, we cover sports and competition. And I know you mentioned you enjoyed training and keeping active and you enjoy sports. And from a unique point of view, I say unique because in the UK, from my understanding, the world of beauty pageant is quite I wouldn't say it's unknown. It's not very well known to the likes of myself and in sport in general. But I think one of the things that strikes me is the competition element. It's still about competing. And yourself, you sort of competed in beauty pageant. Could you tell us a bit about what it's like to compete in that area?
I would say by nature I'm a competitive person, always have been since I was a kid. Yeah. So it was kind of my, I would say, atmosphere. So when it comes to beauty pageants, it's all about, I would say, providing something that no one ever provided.
I'm thinking of this through the mind's eye now. Someone sat in Salford thinking, yeah, I want to do this. So let's give us a good insight of what disciplines you need if you're going to be successful.
You need to obviously be artistic. You need to stand for something. You need to be very disciplined on keeping your body in check, eating healthy, training all the time, because you're going to be competing against 99 people from different countries. And you're tested on many parameters. Yeah, like your intellect. Obviously, the way you hold yourself, your confidence.
Deportment is a big thing.
Yeah, but body language as well is a really, really big thing. we spoke about Jordan Peterson and
That's
in his
right,
book,
yeah,
The 12 Rules of Life. The first thing he talks about is body language and your posture.
Yes.
That's the most important thing you need to work on first.
So that's a big part of it.
Yeah,
it's interesting stuff. And
what is it, 70 or 80% of
I believe
communication is body language.
It is how you hold yourself. People judge you.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think tone, along with tone, I think it's the most important.
Yeah.
I think so, for sure. And I think what's really interesting too about the beauty pageant side of things is you sort of you judge on all these elements, and I think being out there where in sport you're sort of out there and you're in that zone and people are watching you and you step out there. There's no hiding place in the world of sport.
No.
And I think that from a beauty pageant point of view, I think that stepping out there, and do you find, Kimberley, when you sort of step out there that you get those nerves thinking people are judging me, they're watching me?
No, I love it.
Wow.
I'm like I'll dish it out.
That's when you're on.
Yeah. That's where I shine.
That's the New York,
honestly, that's where I
football,
shine.
right? Just
that's where I shine.
Before the whistle, you can get maybe get a few minutes just before the whistle goes. But as soon as you're on, you're overtaken, aren't you?
But the thrill behind it is amazing. The adrenaline as well. You're like, I'm
tell
gonna
us
do
how you got
this.
involved. Did you choose it or it chose you?
No, it chose me. I was actually happily in a Christmas market just shopping, and I think Miss. I started in England. Funny enough, I think Miss London was what she just approached me. She's like, "Oh, you need to apply there. You need to apply for the beauty pageant I'm hosting." Something I've never done before. I wasn't into modeling or anything at the time. I'm a science, I would say, mental kind of person. So I looked it up.
You're flirting with being a polymath now.
Yeah, so I looked it up, and I was like, might as well do it. So
when someone approaches like that must be quite arresting, and it'd be hard to turn that. A lot of girls, I guess, dream of that.
What's your greatest moment, Kimberley, in the world of beauty pageant? Is there any highlights that you could sort of think of that?
I would say my first time, because I've never done it before, and it was a new experience for me, and I won it straight away. And everyone came to me. Most of the girls in there were doing the same competition for 4 or 5 years and trying to win it. And I've done it only once, and I won it.
You won the competition
straight away. Yeah.
Wow, amazing.
But then the difference between me and other people was that I put my heart in it. Meaning, I designed my own dresses. I took my talent very serious. I hired my own teacher, salsa teacher, and I was training for 3 months non-stop. I was
this is full time.
Yeah, it was a full time thing for me, but most people didn't take it as serious, and I think it shows when everything comes out. Yeah.
Definitely. So anyone sort of in the Salford area thinking about getting into beauty pageant, if you sort of talk us through the process of training. I mean, what sort of you mentioned you learned salsa, you prepared yourself in many different ways, and how much time did you spend preparing yourself, you reckon, every
It was
every
a full-time job for me.
Yeah,
because I think if you put your heart and soul into something, I mean, you're going to get something back. Even if you don't win, someone's going to recognize you, and something is going to escalate.
What do you think about it when you're in an arena where you have to perform? And I've done teaching, coaching football. I've noticed that there's an element of sincerity that it's hard to teach, but some people have it.
Yeah.
And I guess that must be important.
Yeah,
Judges
yeah,
can
yeah,
see
yeah.
that you're authentic, if you like. And that's tricky because you can get into an argument of what is authentic or what a character.
Yeah, I totally. That's why I said you need something to stand for. If you have nothing to stand for and you're just doing it for the sake of doing it, then
you have to have ideas and opinions.
Yeah.
Do you think it could be a great thing for the Me Too movement? And also,
it is. I'm
so grateful at last that we're getting parity with the genders, and you can see it through sports a lot in the last 5 years. The popularity and the professionalism of women's sport. But a lot of people in England will have the old-fashioned notion. I know I'm thinking of my dad now, and Miss World back in the '60s, and it kind of fell out of favour, but. I've not seen it rebooted, but I think it could be a chance to celebrate what you guys are great at, and why at last you're getting parity.
I mean, I think everything in life that if you stand for something and you make a difference and a change, then it's worth something. I mean, I'm a petite person, I'm really small, and most models are really tall, and that was my stand ground, is that I'm small, but I present myself with grace.
What about stature?
Yeah.
Stature's hard to define, but it's important, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
That's again how you hold yourself.
Yeah.
And what about the criteria, Kimberley? What do they sort of grade you in terms of the? Let's say, for example, in gymnastics, in synchronized swimming, there's a criteria that they judge. Is there a specific criteria? You mentioned the intellectual side. Obviously, you're very bright. You've studied neuroscience, so we've had some interesting conversations about the brain. So what's the criteria they judge you in terms of the beauty?
So you have 3 rounds in the beauty pageant, which is obviously you have the intellect and what you stand for. You have the talent round and the bikini round, and then the gown round. I think the bikini round is all about how you look after your body and how you present your body.
That's important as well, though, because healthy body, healthy mind.
Exactly.
You know, if you're in shape, it's a great the best natural drug in the world.
It is.
I think and it's really interesting stuff, and I think it's fascinating because, I mean, you won it, and credit to you, and it's a great achievement to win. I can also imagine, my suspicion is, and I'm not about mollycoddling people, I think that losing is a part of life. Yeah. I can imagine in a competition like that, if you were to get beat, it could have a psychological impact. Now, I'm a competitor, I love sport, as you well know. I also think that we play to win, and any competition, whatever it is, you get beat. It's not easy. And
what he's trying to say is it mean out there?
If you get beat, I mean, the people who don't win, it must have a psychological impact for them, because, you know, if you lose a sporting game, it's not easy. You lose a sporting game, and the reason I said it's an individualistic thing. See, in the sporting game, it's a little bit different, because in a team competition, you kind of take the stick together type thing. If you get beat together as a team. As an individual, like tennis or golf, beauty pageant, you're out there on your own in that respect. And I think that for me, do you think that from an individual point of view, if someone was to lose, it could have an impact on them psychologically?
I think it depends really on the individual. It depends how you take it as well. If you're mentally strong and you learn why you failed, and then you take it to the next level, and then if you want to win it again, you can obviously apply for the next year and tweak where you went wrong and learn from your mistakes, then you've done well. But if you take it to heart and you take it personal, then you lost.
It's a lesson for life, isn't
exactly.
it? I mean, you've got to be resilient. You don't learn nothing on easy street.
And life is hard. Life is tough as it is. I mean, if you
find out about yourself when you're down, right?
The more you're prepared for it, the more you become stronger as well. But victim mentality doesn't take you anywhere in life.
You get battle hardened.
If you have the victim mentality, you're not going to get anywhere in life.
No.
You're just going to
you outsource responsibility with the excuses.
I
think what's fascinating too is you mentioned Jordan Peterson as well, and it's quite fascinating because Jordan Peterson's been a controversial figure in one respect, and it's quite interesting that you sort of mentioned that he's some of the things that he's wrote about you've learnt from as well, and it's quite interesting really because he's obviously a controversial character in one sense, and he's a psychologist.
He's a clinical psychologist
from Canada. He's just sort of crossed over the political realm as well, and I think the reason why I think that's fascinating that you mentioned that you've learned from him is that, you know, some of the things that...
What did you learn from him?
A lot. What did I not learn?
Yeah, really?
He's I would say he's very fascinating. He's intelligent. I resonate a lot with the things that he mentions. Like I said, I mean,
like an outlook on life, something fundamental.
He talks about the victim mentality. He's like he talks about how life is hard as it is, and you should be prepared for it. When you're younger, your parents shouldn't protect you.
Yeah. There's a big problem about that now. I was hearing
all this positivity thing. You know, life is positive. Life is amazing. If you have that kind of mentality, and something bad happened, the first thing you're going to do is collapse.
It's easy. I mean, it's interesting because it's become quite a big thing the last few years. I've listened to a professor at New York University recently, actually, and he was saying for the first time ever, he's been there 30 years, the generation now born, the millennials, they've got a built-in idea of safety. And it's very prevalent in their minds. And the threat of non-safety, and for the first time he's ever seen that, from overprotection, overreach.
Yes.
It's like same with biotics. You got to get your kid and rub their face in the mud, right? You know, so they get exposed to know the enemy, exposed to the virus.
Exactly.
Like same psychologically, isn't it?
Back in the day, kids used to play and stuff, and no one used to worry about them. You'll get hurt, you bleed, you fall off the bike, and that's fine. But now, if the kid wants to play, oh no, don't play. Careful, you're gonna fall. Oh no.
You've got to get the balance right. There's a lot of psychological pain at the moment, it seems, in the younger generation as well. So you've got to get the balance right. But I agree, you've got to be tough. So saying that is the atmosphere on the when you're on the circuit. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Is it very sisterhood? Like, is it supportive, or does it get quite divisive? Because the competition is competition.
I think it depends, again, on the individual. Some people are very... they take things too personal.
They get
jealousy
everything.
And
is there a
envy.
ratio, or is there a bigger number of individuals that just want to win, or do you find this is more...
Everyone wants to win, I would say, but you can tell some people don't have as much confidence, and you can tell by their body language. They can speak and pretend, but your subconscious always picks some body language straight away. And you get the envious one, you get the jealous one, you get the people who say mean comments and stuff, but it all goes back to individual. If you protect yourself and you know that you're here to compete, and these people are you can be, I would say, civil with them, but not take anything personal and just focus on what you have to do.
So you're at that zen moment where you can let things go. You're a swan. You made it. Yeah. You're a swan in every.
I don't take things personal. I always like to listen to criticism, and if it's beneficial, I'll take it, and if it's not beneficial, doesn't resonate, I would state my opinion in a very civil way, and I'll just leave it from there.
You should run for mayor. You've got good ideas. Let's have a healthy society. We'll be back soon. Looking forward to talking about your journey and how far you've got, and
thank you for having me,
and how Salford has been treating you. We'll be back.
Thanks.
You're listening to Salford City Radio, the only station that brings you local news and events, great music and interviews with some of the hottest bands around, like these.
Hi, this is Ed from Editors. Hey, I'm Matt from KG Elfin.
Hi, this is Dean Bandit.
Hello, this is the Band of Skulls.
Hi, this is Frank Tennant.
We're We Are Scientists.
We're the Hoosiers.
This is Halfman Run.
Hello, I'm Van from Catfish and the Bottommen.
Hi, my name is Ray Morris.
Hey, this is Wildcup.
Hello, this is Little Comets.
Hey, this is Glass Animal.
This is Jaws.
So make sure you stay tuned to Salford City Radio, 94.4 FM, your city, your station.
There's no place I'd rather be.
Are you looking to advertise your business, promote your company or market your project? Well, you can do just that with Salford City Radio. All you have to do is get in contact with us, which couldn't be easier. Email us at info@salfordcityradio.org, call 0161 793 2939, or you can click on the advertising tab at our website at www.salfordcityradio.org.
Yeah, speaking of Salford City Football Club, you mentioned earlier about Chris, and we hopefully are going to get him on board as a guest, and he's a great guy, and there's a lot of good things happening at Salford City. Our correspondent, Stunt Pegg, who follows Bolton around and does a lot of coverage for them, managed to get round to see Salford City against Shrewsbury in the FA Cup replay. What was your take on the game, Stunt Pegg?
Just Salford, they weren't out of it at all until the final whistle, but I think that game highlighted how sort of maybe unprofessional and inconsistent they are because they're not in the league yet. I think they matched against Shrewsbury, who are a League One club, a much more established club, and it exposed them. I thought Shrewsbury knew how to deal with the bobbly pitch. I thought Shrewsbury were, better at set pieces. They knew how to manage that game more efficiently, and Salford were caught out there. And I think just as an overall, I think there's an inconsistency. Salford can smash one team 4-0 and then the next week they can't get a goal, or they might concede a couple of goals. So I think that definitely epitomises them and shows where they need to improve if they want to become a professional league team.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. They're second in the table. I think in one sense, in one way, now they're sort of relieved from the FA Cup in one sense. Obviously, they want to go as far as they can, and you want to win every game.
Yeah.
No, they can focus on the league, and in second position, you've got Havant and Waterloo, which are 19th in the table. It won't be an easy game this weekend, and we'll just see how things materialise there, that's for sure. What about Bolton? What's the scoop on Bolton? We touched briefly.
How long have I got?
Yeah. Well, you've got as long as you want.
Start with the good news.
Yeah, exactly. Well, a huge game this weekend, by the way, isn't it? Huge derby.
The Wigan derby.
Absolutely. Well, it's a huge match, but it's been ruined. It's been ruined by the owners because ticket prices, £35 it costs for Wigan fans. So
£35.
Yeah, we've only got 1,500 Wigan fans coming out with 4,800 allocation. They're obviously sick of that, and I don't blame them. There's thousands of Bolton fans boycotting it too because they don't. Sheffield. I went to Sheffield Wednesday midweek, and that was the worst football match I've ever been to in my life. And I've been to so many football matches. I've been to non-league football matches, and that was just horrible to watch. They couldn't string a pass together. They couldn't have a shot on target. We had our two most expensive strikers playing, and they kept passing it to each other in the box. And finally, Donaldson has a go, and he sends it into Rose Ed. It was appalling, and they want us to pay £35 for that.
We can hear your despair there, Stunt Pegg.
It's coming through.
It is the risk. The risk to the payment. I mean, the reward to the payment is too far apart, isn't it? £35. Football with stabilisers on.
Yeah, I mean, yes, of course, certainly it's not cheap. That's for sure. And do you think that price is ostracising the general fan? Stunt Pegg, do you think £35 is?
I think so because I know a Birmingham fan called Joe, so I asked him how much Aston Villa charged Birmingham for that derby, and that was £29.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not being funny, but Aston Villa versus Birmingham smashes Bolton versus Wigan out the park, because when you strip it of all its values, Bolton versus Wigan is the bottom half of the Championship match, and these are two struggling clubs right now who aren't playing that good football. And I just think right now with what's going, we've scored 2 goals in over 2 months. We've scored 1 goal in October and 1 goal in the whole of November.
That is not entertainment, is it, in anyone's book? I mean, that's slim pickings even for the optimist.
Yeah, we're owed an apology, and I just think this was the perfect opportunity to give us that apology. Maybe do a free pint at the match, or reduce it, or say bring a friend. Season ticket holders, bring a friend for a tenner. Just something to show that you acknowledge that what we're putting up with, the dross we're watching. Acknowledge that you feel for us, you've got empathy, but nothing is being done there.
Haven't football fans got short-term memories? I mean, this time, cast your mind back to the final game of the season last year when they survived, but no. I don't know what the price.
If a club's been run woefully,
I think that says it in itself, though.
Yeah.
That we were that happy, as if we'd won the World Cup, when all we were doing was surviving in the Championship. And we're Bolton Wanderers. We should have bigger ambitions than that.
It's just not run properly, is it? From top
but where do you see Bolton Wanderers, Stunt Pegg? I mean, where do you see them? How they've got a great stadium. The fans are fantastic.
We've got the stadium. We own the stadium. We own the training ground. We've got Middlebrook, which is the largest retail and leisure park next door. We've got all the land around the club. We've got the hotel. There's great assets there. I just don't understand why we've not attracted an investment, and I think that might lie with the owner too, because you look at him, take one look at Ken Anderson, and I don't actually blame anyone who doesn't want to deal with him, because he looks you won't buy a car off him, I'll tell you that much.
Wow, that's a big call, and that's certainly a big call.
If you're a Bolton fan, you can't get involved at Sports Friday.
Definitely. You've heard it from Stunt Pegg, who goes to every game pretty much. And who have they got this weekend? Your predictions for this weekend against the Wigan game?
Well, I've said 3-0 to Wigan.
3-0 to Wigan.
I'm a Wigan fan. I was there last Saturday. I'll go with that.
Clifford's happy with that. Thanks for joining us, Stunt Pegg, and enjoy the game. We look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks. We're here still with our live studio guest, Kimberley Wallis. Have you got a current title? What shall I refer to you officially?
I have 4.
You have 4? Okay, off you go.
Okay, so it's Miss USA Bikini, Miss Supernational, Miss Motors, and the other one I need to remember. Oh my god.
That
is embarrassing. Miss LA. I remember that.
You're still Miss LA, really?
Yeah.
How have you kept your tan in Salford? I know people on the radio won't be able to see this, but you've got a kind of oh, do you?
Yeah.
That's the secret perks of being as a beauty.
With beauty pageants, you travel a lot. Yeah.
Downsides? Anything that you'd maybe forewarn anyone about this listening now? Younger girls? I don't believe boys do at this stage.
Boys do more
Weights,
fitness. Yeah. I think if you want to do something, just do it. Like, don't think about it. And, the 5-second rule, just do it.
Yeah.
Don't think about it.
Yeah, just do it. Even if you're not in the best shape and stuff. I mean, once you apply, you're under that pressure to be, to work out.
Yeah. I think so, for sure. And what's your take on some of the... Have you had a chance to sort of catch up with some of the sports in the UK? Kimberley, I know from my experience in America that basketball, American football, baseball are generally the biggest sports. Have you sort of had a chance to see a bit of soccer, football?
Yeah, I have. I went to Manchester United match. Was it on the one on Tuesday? It was on Tuesday.
Did you?
Yeah,
oh my God! I apologise on behalf of Manchester.
But then they scored at the end. But when I left, they scored.
Don't go again then.
You never want to leave early with Manchester United.
Oh my God! No, but if you're a neutral being introduced to football, that was one of the most bleakest, dispiriting visions you've ever seen.
What's your take on the football in the UK? I mean, what's your thoughts on it? What do you sort of...
It's kind of different on the States, because we're more NFL basketball.
So you're getting basketball?
Yeah. That's what I'm into. I love soccer as well. My dad used to be a soccer player.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, soccer is
So, but you generally grew up around sports like basketball.
Yeah, basketball, because that's why I played in school.
Yeah, okay. And I mean, they do have. There's a decent team in Manchester, a basketball team as well, and they have got American football's getting bigger in the UK as well.
We're trying to cross-pollinate our sports.
That's good.
We're trying to swap rugby for the NFL, aren't we?
I mean, there's also been talk of playing a premiership game in the USA, one game, and that's another issue for another day. But no, it's interesting take. Really, I think that soccer, as it's called in the USA over here, football. And I think for me, I would say that the USA soccer team probably hasn't taken off as much as they would have liked to. The league there is getting better.
The women's national team are amazing.
They are.
Definitely.
They're always there or thereabouts and being world champions before.
They have.
I mean, the MLS, for sure. And New York's got two really well-known teams in we'll call it football. We'll stick to calling it football as you do. So your experience, and what would you say your experience was? How did you find the experience at the atmosphere at Old Trafford? What would you say the atmosphere was for you?
They weren't cheering as much. The Switzerland were cheering a lot, which was I was like, I want to be there, not because of Switzerland, but because they were cheering a lot.
Yeah, okay. They were sort of more vocal.
They were very I was just sad it was so quiet.
And the Manchester United team was okay. The fans weren't as
no.
I mean, to be fair, I think there's always been that, hasn't there? Where
I think because it was an intense game. It was a very intense game.
So the question is, do you have to entertain the crowd to get them going, or should the crowd be there to rouse you at your low points?
Yeah, because they're your fans, but they're your fans.
But you've got to give them something.
Yeah, if you're a musician, your fans would be cheering up for you. If you're not, you wouldn't feel as good as a musician. And I think
it's an interesting relationship, isn't it?
And we know even Roy Keane used to say, he got in. Roy Keane used to say the old prawn sandwich group. And I think for me there is a point there. I mean, my experience of Old Trafford, I think that it is hit and miss. I think on its day, I mean, the crowd's really vocal and gets involved. But I think, I mean, it's one of them really. I think one of the reasons for that, obviously, I'm not undermining the corporate side of things, but there are a lot of corporate people who
They should send down the Trades Description Act, because there's no football being played there at the moment, and his official title is football manager. If they send down the official body of the Trades Description, they'd shut them. They'd have to be shut down. I've not seen any football for 3 years.
In a couple of weeks' time.
It's miserable. I'm an optimist as well.
In a couple of weeks' time.
But you can't. Well, life is hard. It's hard.
I just want to see a little bit of football, just a little bit. I'm not a greedy man.
On December, is it the 11th or the 12th? I don't recall now what day the Champions League's on now, but I'll be there. You'll see a set of fans.
You're going to Old Trafford?
No, a set of passionate fans. I'm going to get my team's a team called Napoli. I grew up on a team called Napoli. They're going to be playing Liverpool.
Your Italian roots.
Is that Australia?
No, I grew up in Australia. I was born in
You're
Australia.
Italian?
Yeah.
Italian background, Neapolitan background.
It's greedy, isn't it?
I didn't know that.
It's genetically greedy, this man.
I just go for the winners, I got one foot in every camp.
An Italian Australian, that explains a lot.
And depending on which sporting team's playing, I tend to jump up there.
You're excitable then, eh?
Well, exactly. So
flare quickly.
Now, if you do get a chance to see Napoli play, and they're known for their fans.
No, great passion. I know some Napoli fans.
Yeah, I mean,
Southern Italy.
We go out there
Maradona's team.
And watch the team. It's a team that starved of success. I mean, there are various reasons for that, but
they nearly won last year. They had the greatest chance ever under Sarri.
Precisely. And Sarri, and that's really interesting. You mentioned Sarri, is that he's at Chelsea at the moment. Ranieri, Fulham play against Chelsea. So that's going to be an interesting game.
Home, yeah.
Well, exactly. I think for me, Ranieri will always be a hero at Chelsea. I think that he took on board the team when they weren't.
They were glamorous.
Performing,
He'll be he won't be loved. He'll be loved, but he won't be like
no. But I think
because he didn't win anything.
I mean, he didn't.
And he lost the chance of winning the Champions League against Monaco, an easy game.
But there was a romance that he took the team on when they didn't have Abramovich's billions to start with. I think he sort of took them to a level. Then Mourinho took on from there, and I think for me, had he have been given another year, I reckon, but
it's nice to go home anyway.
But the ironies of football, obviously, football's a funny game, and
always
and Mourinho took over. Look where Mourinho is now, and Ranieri, and it's I think there's all sorts of different twists and turns in the world of sport.
It'll be a good game. We're coming up to the last few minutes here. I just want to get you guys' thoughts here. See if you can guess what this is.
Okay.
China. Put yourself here in this story. We're in China. It's the biggest growing activity the last 7 years. They've just found 258 people cheating. What do you think it is?
Cheating in China.
They've just found it's the biggest growth activity sport in China. It's been growing for 7 years. it is the half marathon.
All right.
Wow.
It's big,
Cheating.
it's huge.
Oh,
Can you
wow.
believe they just got caught cheating? 258 competitors. And guess what the punishment was in China?
Well,
They're going to get lifetime bans and now facial recognition technology
Oh,
is
wow.
coming in.
So they're out for good.
It's out for good.
So it wasn't worth it.
Well, yeah,
Well, I have a lifetime ban from the marathon.
Self-imposed.
Self-imposed.
How are they cheating?
They were
Self-imposed ban.
Good question. There's a lot of them. There was a part of the track that doubled back on itself with a big bush, big bushy, small forest. They were running through there, and there was people even impersonating other people. So the Chinese authorities, the actual official of the Shenzhen Half Marathon, said marathon running is not